Welcome. We gather here together to train our hearts and minds on a place and a time kin to our own. Cursed, it seems, to succumb to their own desperate and tragic end. They call, and we hear them. They are hurt, and we accept their pain. They are at their end, and we will carry them on in our memory. Bear witness to the voices from the Umbra. Introducing the Green Thumb.
This message is intended for the king's subjects. You finally found your place. Even the doctor has abdicated responsibility. Lincoln belongs to its child. True. They don't know they've been subjugated.
It's easier this way.
They believe it's partnership. They don't know that the king has arisen. It's easier to work from the shadows. A king need not be flashy if he be smart.
True power doesn't require acknowledgement.
But the king also answers to a higher power. We all do. The food chain is a wheel. The mightiest of animals is eaten by fungus eventually. My influence among the animals has grown. But everything I am is for Carol Ann. Always eternal. She's ignored no longer. If they want to feed their bodies, they'll feed their souls as well. We're not unreasonable. No mass, no gatherings, no sacrifice. Not yet, anyway. A simple thank you, as produce is given over, with eye contact, finally. It's hard to tell whether it's Christmas or New Year's or simply winter. I like to imagine it's New Year's. It's new for us, at least. The first time we've stopped the downhill slide. The first time the future looked brighter than the past. Carol Ann has taken to power like a fish to water. She hardly stopped whispering to me since the night of the burning. The mind of a child is a wonderful thing, isn't it? She gets to the heart of the matter so clearly. She shows the world like it really is. She had me writing a speech, delivered from the overpass. It's symbolic. She's so talented. Maybe the world isn't over. Maybe it just dissolved for a while. Like a caterpillar into a chrysalis, ready to fly.
Neighbors! Good neighbors! This is a hard life. For many of us, the only thing that brings us through the days are the things we nourish, the things we grow. You, the children you've brought with you. Me, the garden, and my precious Carol Ann. Despite our similarities, we mainly keep to ourselves, which is perfectly fine and acceptable. Peaceful, even. Then that peace was shattered. 2 acts of violence. The burning of one of my precious garden rooms and the burning of your storeroom. Suddenly a third party has entered the game. Somebody's not content to live in peace. Somebody would like to see what little we've managed to scrounge for ourselves go up in flames. We have a common enemy. So we have common troubles. I believe, during my long periods of thinking, that I have come up with a solution for all of them. Our problems, from what I can tell, are these. 1. The pyromaniac. 2. The wilting garden. 3. The lack of any sort of stockpile. Our solution thus are simple. A hunting party of sorts must be sent out through the city for supplies. The monsters have left our encampment here alone, for the most part. But they still live out there and roam out there. So these will need to be brave volunteers. After those are chosen, we must have volunteer watch group patrolling the streets at all hours, and any further damage minimized. And when we find that person, an example must be made of them to dissuade anyone further. Our justice must be written in the same fire that they used against us.
Bear witness to a new beginning.
This message is intended for the doctor. I know you're unhappy. That's all I ever hear from you anymore. The unhappiness, the disapproval. You know what I think? I think you dislike my new power. I think you hate that people listen to me. You'd rather they spit on me, keep me down, and keep you high on your throne. They still think I'm crazy, but they're willing to work with crazy. They know that it's a crazy world anymore. They know that crazy can also mean strong.
Sometimes you want crazy to dissuade other crazies from trying anything with you.
I went to see the doctor's friend today. Picked clean, bones scattered. Only the barest remains of what happened. Carol Ann didn't remember. Do you? No. Too young. She stood on the stain. On her own 2 feet. In my head, I recalled the blood eagle I pulled her from. She's grown so much. Carol Ann noticed the light before I did. I was lost in my own world. She saw the glint and she followed it into the neighborhood. Only one thing it could have been. Binoculars. Somebody's spying. Somebody's being a little peepee-tom. Somebody's nervous. This message is intended for the doctor. No need for these secrets. If you actually listen to me, I tell you anything. I tell you everything. We used to be so close. What happened, Doctor?
What's wrong with me?
Carol Ann has been talking almost non-stop. I've heard that children do this. Start talking, never give it up for 10 years after that. Most children probably don't talk like her, though. She talks of plot and of intrigue. She whispers about betrayal and suspicion. She pines on the constant games of social chess we're forced to play. She's so advanced for her age. Carol Ann was telling me about how unfortunate it would be for the group if the doctors were found to be the arsonist. They have so much trust built up into them. To think that the one they called you to safety, to the promised land, to the ark, to the bunker, to think that the person who did that would sabotage you, burn your stores to the ground, injure the innocent heroes who tried to put out the blaze. It's hard to say what people might do in that situation. Start talking, probably. Start wondering just why they were brought here if they were just going to be fucked with. That's how rumors start. And in this new world, gossip is always dark. Maybe the doctor wants slaves. Maybe the doctor wants to experiment on us to find a cure. Maybe the doctor is going to breed us for food. The human mind has nearly unlimited capacity for horror. Once the snowball begins to roll, all you can do is stand aside. And all of this wonder, this goodness, this beautiful knowledge from the mouth of a child. From my little Carol Ann. She even started suggesting catching blobs, catching them, chaining them together, and latching them to strategic points around our border.
A living wall, infinitely replaceable. Daddy is so proud of you.
Introducing the Animalist.
The human brain wasn't made for duality like this multiplicity. A constant nausea from the extra perspectives showing through the holes I cut in my shirt. The unsettling notion of not being alone in your own head. No matter how much you crave this love, this togetherness, there is still a piece of primal fear at the back of the brain, and it screams and cowers and shits itself in terror at invasion. If I knew the spot, I'd happily drill into my head and remove that reservation permanently, but that's suicide. And I think suicide is also now murder? Welcome to A Reason to Live, I suppose, if I'm ever out of all the others. Thank God for it, too, because the going is rough. Slow progress as we wrestle with being able to even walk correctly, let alone find our old bearings and forget about even finding the man on top of that. One step at a time. Baby steps. And then a bunch of resting, like this, all curled up and with your eyes shut to block out all the input. It's strange that my amygdala cares so much about the mental invasion and not the physical. I think at one point I might have been very unhappy with having this mass of bug and dog and whatever hanging off my front, but after I got used to the weight, it actually wasn't bad. The hair tickles sometimes, but hell, who are we kidding? The end of the world is a hairy place for all of us. The world of beauty dies quick and is not missed much. Sometimes I can feel the tube that snakes into the artery on my neck. If I kind of twist my head around, weird sensation, I don't know where it ends exactly. I assume somewhere on my brain, but who knows where or why or if that's right at all.
Just guessing. Always just guessing anymore.
I don't think I can meet the man on equal footing anymore, not after all of this. This is a new world, and he's quickly being left behind. That's not to be completely unkind. He'll still be given a place, a reason for being, but it's very obvious that there is now an alpha and a beta, if not two completely different species. He will have to be subservient. Who knows? He may even enjoy it. Abdication of responsibility is a drug, after all. Maybe this is just my detox period. As I let go of some of the control in my life, maybe that's why I'm purging.
Maybe that's why I feel terrible.
The insect canine brain is so fixated on the here and the now. The immediate, present, future planning is left almost completely up to me for everything that's not a base instinct or desire waiting to be fulfilled. I am also very outclassed in anything having to do with the short term. My brain hasn't completely given in. I still have some basic biology left. I still have the creature that walked the knife edge of survival and won. And not bad on the genetic front. We've been traveling through fields for what seems like a week. Seems like we've made our way back further than I went looking for that damn barn, but it's hard to judge things like that anymore. We seem to be vaguely looking for the man, but that's not the top priority. That's what I get to sprinkle in over the top. Right now, we seem to be searching for something bigger. The pictures that filter in from my counterpart aren't the clearest. Arms, legs, mass, shadowy mass, a blob, obviously, but big, way too big, way far too big, or shit, who knows? Maybe a weird tree, maybe a dream, maybe nothing.
Maybe this is dying.
But no, I doubt it. One of us would be more upset about that, at least. That's my guess anyway. Oh, unfortunate development. I've started a bit of a bad habit. Every time my mind wanders, I find myself scratching at my wrists and my forearms. At first, I figured I had gotten into some poison ivy or some crap like that, but it didn't itch at all. I didn't want to scratch it, I still don't, but every time I drift off into thought for a little while, it just starts on up again. I'm starting to wear away the skin. Looks kind of like a really bad, really morbid henna tattoo. I ought to give myself a name. I don't know what to call myself anymore. Maybe that's a problem that'll just go away. We're on the outskirts of this little town. I think this is a junkyard. I can feel the proboscis when my pulse beats in my neck. Holy. It must be the entire town. All pushed together. All amalgamated.
We killed it. We killed it, and I barely know what happened.
I think something pumped through the proboscis into my neck or my brain, or both. And my mind took a break for a while. I watched, not really feeling it as my hour, really, but my is such a habit, as my body gathered the materials needed. The wood and the trash and the gasoline and the oil. Anything that would burn. There was plenty. We left a lot of burnable stuff, piled it into a gigantic circle with a little piece opened up facing the giant blob. God, how many people? 100? 2? More? You don't expect to see creatures this big on land. Maybe the ocean. Maybe. From the comfort of a boat. Something else released into my neck. The weariness that had been invading my limbs disappeared, and my hands started to shake. My vision tunneled into itself. The next thing I knew, the gigantic thing was pushing at the insides of my little trash ring, and I was holding a lighter, wrapping a rubber band around it to keep the flame alive, and dropping it into the pile. All the rest is
rendering fat and the occasional squeal.
There's power here, that's obvious. There's a real power that can be tapped into, but it does come at a cost. Just as the flames were dying down, I felt myself grab a piece of wood on the edge of the crackling bits and pieces. It had a piece of rebar, or huge bolt or something, sticking out at the end of it. Incredibly hot, sitting right in the embers. Before I knew what I was doing, I brought the wood down and the arm up, and that metal just pressed right into those lines I'd been scratching. Angry blisters jumped up, broke, and reformed almost immediately. I waited for the pain, but there was none. Not until every line was traced, and the wood was thrown back into the fire, and my forearms sufficiently decorated. That's when the pain began to leak in, deep and throbbing high and screaming anything and everything. And when I splashed the rubbing alcohol from the pharmacy all over them, well, that was just a whole new level of agony. I even felt the claws pull deeper on my ribs for that one. So now I sit, powerful and bandaged. Message received. Power to do what you want, get what you want, find who you want, and a cost to be paid afterwards. I'm still a little fuzzy here and there, but that sounds like a fair deal. We're the same, right?
We never do anything to hurt ourselves.
Introducing the homebody.
Why lie anymore, right? It's just silly. It's all just so silly. There's so much shame at the end of the world. And I'm surprised about it. I brought all of it with me, like a pack mule, and here I am acting surprised that it followed me around somehow. That's dumb, right? But sometimes dumb guys can get lucky. It happened to me once in my life. I might as well, see if lightning strikes twice. Got given a sign. Obviously, I'd been thinking about it anyways, so it's not that crazy. I just haven't pulled the trigger because why would I, right? I've got all the time in the world, all the space. Money is no object anymore. And sometimes you just happen upon a perfectly nice ring in the middle of the street and it's hardly even dirty, and you pick it up and the first thing you think is, well, I ought to give this to Janice as a proposal. Mine just went boom, straight to that. And, there's really no good reason not to, from what I can tell. I mean, that does add a bit of stress to my life, though, weird kind of it, too. After going so long without this sort of, I don't know what to call it, this sort of self-made ritual stress type thing. I haven't really slept much since I found it. Oh, I'd say a couple days ago, too, I think. It just feels like I wake up all the time. Heck, I might need to do this and get this thing done quick just for my own health. It'd be bad to get this close to maybe being kind of happy and dropping from a heart attack. It's not a bad joke, actually. Maybe I could work that into the proposal somehow. I mean, I'm anxious, but I'm also, excited, too. I feel like I'm 14 again, asking somebody to be my girlfriend on the playground. Wow, I am very sweaty. Hey, Janice, are you okay with me recording something here? I appreciate it. You know I always do. It's a better habit than smoking, I guess. Am I right? Hell of a lot cheaper these days, though, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I actually had something I wanted to ask you. Something important, which is why I'm all sweaty and nervous right now. Sorry about that. Anyways, I wrote down some things, but I'm just gonna try and speak from the heart as best as I can. And if it's terrible, I'll take out what I wrote and we'll go from there. I'm stalling a little bit. Okay. Okay. Janice, I know we've only known each other a short time, but I think you'd agree that it's been incredibly special. Loneliness hangs on this world like a blanket, and the weight of carrying it around was getting to me. It really was. You helped shoulder my burden and helped show me that there were still some beautiful places in the world. There's a peace and a happiness that I feel when I'm next to you that I thought was gone from me forever. It's the warmth of a sunset on your face. It's the cool breeze on a hot day. It's the presence sharing your life that is just what you need, just when you need it. You do that for me, and I cannot thank you enough. Now, call me what you will. Call me old-fashioned or boring or whatever you like, but in my lifetime, the only times I've ever felt those feelings were times when I was in love. So I'll just come out and say it. I love you, Janice. I do. I love you, and you're special. And you make me feel special. And us being together makes me so happy. And I think it makes the universe happy too, because they gave me a little gift here. There's not a box or anything, but I found this ring in the middle of the street, surrounded by the devastation of the world, but unchanged by it. Sure, maybe a little dirty, slightly bent, a scratch or two, but still beautiful. Janice, with this ring, I ask one of the most important questions a person can ask. Will you marry me? Janice? I said, will you marry me? I know it's a little sudden, so if you need some time to think... Well, no, I mean, you don't have to leave right now or anything. Janice, hey, come on now, you gotta give me some sort of idea. You can't just walk away because... At least be good enough to tell me if it's a no. At least be good enough to look at me. Janice, don't leave. Janice, come on. Look, if you keep walking away right now, that's it. I just need you to tell me. Fine then. Fine. Do whatever you like. Whole universe wants us to be together is all. Why even consider it, right? Fuck. Fuck this. Fuck this. You know, that's a really shitty thing to do, right? Just walk off on someone like that. That's a really shitty thing to do when somebody tells you they love you. Yeah, just fucking go. Who cares? Who even cares? I cared, but that wasn't good enough, was it? Fuck this. Fuck all this nonsense. Well, now I've gone and done it. What the hell was all of that about? That wasn't me. I'm not that kind of person. Stupid. Just stupid. From the beginning to the end. So now you've got a choice here, you stupid little childish fucking... You've got a choice. You can either just keep going, get on out, and just go do whatever it is you're going to do. Ruin the next piece of happiness and kindness you come across in this world based on what you've already done. Or, and this is a big or, so think carefully. Or, you can go back and apologize. If Janice even wants to see you, which they might not. Which they probably won't.
Because why would they? Right?
What have I done for them this entire time? They've saved my life, given me company and companionship, not enveloped me. Let me keep their drawing. Saw me and accepted me for me. And let me know. And what did I do? I let my ego take over and acted like just because I had to go and fall in love that it meant I deserved the love back. Well, shit. I guess I just have to decide if it's worth trying. I'm not gonna let my stupidity screw this up. I'm done making big mistakes.
I don't know what to do.
I'm back, but Janice is gone. I've searched the town. All the spots, nothing. No Janice. I don't know why. I never thought they would leave.
No.
This can't end. Not like this. This isn't how this stops. Not this way. Not at this point. I'm finally putting things right. I'm trying to do the right things. I promise I am, but everything just keeps being taken away from me. What's the point in having anything if it's just gonna keep being taken away? No, I'm not finished. This isn't finished. I'm going to see this through. Janice can look in my eyes and tell me what they need to tell me, but it'll be face to face. I'll have a chance to apologize. If something has got to end, you end it the right way. That's the kind of world this is. If I'm almost alone in it, god damn it, then I get to choose how things like this end. That's my price, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm also bringing a gift. I'm not showing up empty-handed. I'm gonna show them just how special they are to me. It's going to be perfect. Everything is going to be perfect. We'll all be together. Everything will be just fine. I'm going to make it that way. Things can't keep ending badly. That won't be allowed. I'll put a stop to that. Just see if I don't.
Introducing G.I. Jane.
There are some rare pockets of life that are just brutal. Like when someone gets hurt in front of you and does that thing where it's more of a scream than a cry. Like seeing two big dogs get in a real fight over something. Like when a pack of wolves takes down an elk and eats it without waiting for it to die. I've never had that feeling because of an empty room before, but here we are. The door's shut behind me. I'm fairly certain I made that choice, but somebody took a cheese grater to my short-term memory, so how certain can I really be? I've been sitting here for either minutes or hours, and I think I've achieved some sort of stasis, a bit of balance, just a tiny amount of neutrality. I'm at a point where I can resist this thing in my brain and it doesn't feel like my head is going to be pulled in half, so that's a piece of positive news. Feels like there are fish hooks attached under my skull, right where the spine ends and all the way up and over to where my nose starts, and everything is definitely still pulling, but it's either weaker than it was before, or I'm just slowly going numb because it's more and more bearable as I sit and do nothing. I'm fairly certain I know how this ends. Looking at that window is like looking at a glass of poisoned water on a desert island. At a certain point, drinking really seems like the thing to do. Heck, right now, drinking really seems like the thing to do. Welcome to the certain point. I'm impressed this place is still so clean. Mom would be...
That sure makes it pull harder.
She would, though. Mom would be proud. I really haven't thought about her. Not since... I haven't thought about her in so long I've forgotten what I stopped thinking about her for, and now twice in the last... month? Weeks? Why do I still care? There's a bottle of something in the top part of the cabinet next to the fridge. I think I'm going to drink it and figure out if I leave this place through the door or the window. You know, it's a pretty fucked up thing to do, dragging a person all over the city at night and leading them up a fucking building and then dumping him into a room, and then when the door shuts, vanishing. Just leaving. Not leaving a clue or an explanation or a damn please and thank you. No, just leaving. Just leaving people alone when people really could use somebody. Oh, fuck this headache. Things were going so well earlier, too. This was supposed to be a victory night. A lie back and watch the new people run for the north like kids from a haunted house kind of night. But no. Just brought me up to this goddamn shit-ass room of death and left me to my thoughts. Room of death. Why the fuck did I say that? Nobody's even dead here. It's spotless. Just the way we left it. Hold on. Just hold on. Did I live here? But no, I couldn't have. We weren't rich. A place by the park means you're rich, and we definitely weren't rich. Not if we were getting the... And why? No, we didn't live here, but we took care of it. That's it. The owners were gone, and we came every week. It was the last thing we did every week before we caught the train going home. But we couldn't leave because it had started. The end of it all had started, and we were still here. We were here for... No.
Oh, I don't want it.
We were here for 5 days. The water shut off after 2. And on the 5th... Oh, no. God, no.
I said I'd never come back here.
I'm standing in front of a mirror for the first time. Long enough that I can't remember anyways. I'm looking at my eyes and I don't remember them being quite so... feral. This person in the mirror... she looks so terrified. Half an ear gone on one side and these wide, sunken eyes. Can that really be me? I wasn't always this, right? When did I melt into this person? How did this happen? I keep asking myself questions I know the answer to. I know exactly how this happened. That was the worm inside my brain, caged up for so long, like the bullworms in the subways and the sewers, going around and around, just accumulating over time. Might as well tell the story to the mirror. Nobody else around to hear it, that's for sure. That's obvious. When the water shut off, the real panic started to set in. Peyton was practically attached to Mom, even though nobody could leave. Nobody could go anywhere. I just said fuck it all and holed up in one of the bedrooms, reading or sleeping or just waiting, I guess. Waiting for things to be different. Add a little bit of dehydration on top of that, and the energy in the whole place just hung low and heavy. You could tell something was going to happen. I don't know when she made the choice, but she didn't notify anybody, didn't give any sign. I wasn't in much of a place to receive one, even if there had been, so maybe there was, but not that I can remember. I just remember the breaking glass. I remember hearing the breaking glass, and I knew it wasn't right. It wasn't a cup on the floor or a knocked over vase or anything like that. It was bad enough to ruse me into an investigative mood, at least, and if that means anything. I opened the door and I didn't even comprehend it at first. I just saw the broken window. It wasn't until I played it again in my head that I realized what my mother had done. What she had just put through the glass. Who she had just sent out of this world forever. I locked my gaze on my mother after she sent Peyton falling to his death, and I saw something in her eyes that I see in this mirror today. A haunted look. A need to make the right choice. A certain distance from sanity. My mother held out her hands to me. She said,
"A family should be together."
I put my shoulder into her.
She fell like a stone.
There was still one more lesson to be learned on the worst day of my life. I had already learned that this new world will take everything possible from you. I learned that kindness and innocence are like dust motes in a sunbeam, tiny and fleeting. I learned that I was now, as I would always be, alone. But I didn't know everything. I stepped to the window because either I couldn't resist or I was contemplating my mother's offer more seriously. I stepped to the window and I felt the breeze on my face. And I took in the horror of the new world. And I looked down and I saw Peyton's face. Half of Peyton's face. The apartment a couple floors down had a large window box. It had a decorative spiked railing around it. He must have caught on the way down. He must have caught and ripped and ended his life in abject agony as well as confusion and betrayal. And that's when I learned that this new world was capable of incredible cruelty and that everybody in it, everybody that didn't succumb to it, would have the cruelty of the new world carved into their very skin, into their bones, into their DNA itself. I started walking. I must have. I certainly didn't stay around here. I started walking and put everything out of my mind for years. But things put away in the mind have a way of coming back. The brain is good soil. The roots of memory run very deep. The winter is long. Eventually the spring thaws the world and things grow again. I must have kept a small piece of my mind here for all these years. In these brief minutes of what I'm assuming is horrified shock at a badly repressed memory, I can see the world very clearly. I'm still drowning in insanity, but I managed to kick off the bottom and get my head above the waves. For now. I know it's fleeting. Just like I know there's nothing outside that door, but I still feel anxious about opening it. At a certain point, your lizard brain doesn't really care what you know. It only cares what it feels. I've said before, I've said before that when you're doing well and you know you're just going to slip down again, it's tempting to contemplate ending things. Saying that while standing at this floor-to-ceiling window, looking down at a fall with a capital F, well, it's like doing it with a gun in your hand. All of a sudden, it seems a bit more real.
It'd be easy, painless.
And then you see just barely bits and pieces of lights to the north. Small fires, maybe repaired generators, and a bit of that self-pity turns to anger. A small fire starts in your stomach that has nothing to do with the alcohol from the cabinet and everything to do with the fact that you can still feel righteous indignation somehow despite everything because god damn it, I did something. I lived. When everybody else in this city gave in, I lived. When I had to lose my mind to do it, I lived. And now I think of just
Just ending things and letting them have everything? Everything I worked for, my legacy to the world. One clean piece of one island. At least for a bit, but god damn it, I did my job. I had my little trick that cleared out one building. I wonder what it would do against their whole settlement. I wonder if they would run.
Give them a chance to lose their minds, to save their lives.
The stories remain. But for now, we rest, we reflect, and we take from this what we can. Take this with you as you journey through your own mind. No matter how dark it seems, there will always be voices from the Umbra.
Voices from the Umbra and the Think Tank High Council would like to thank the research team, who so bravely connected to the individual voices themselves at no small personal risk. When they leave us, may their memory be forever enshrined in the heart of the universe. They are James L. Booker III, Betsy Eliza, Joe Hansen, and Liz Martelli. Voices from the Umbra and the Think Tank High Council would like to thank the archival team, who each gave a part of themselves to further the vision of the species they were born as. May the gifts they gave us be cherished always. They are Kelsey Potter, Chase Knieven, Alexander Wolf, and Edward Hoffman. If you feel the stirrings of curiosity within your soul, or simply wish to connect to the voices on a deeper level, by seeing art and artifacts produced by those whom you've just heard, as well as a blog chronicling the history of our organization and writings from our leader, Grandfather Spalding, please join us online at voicesfromtheumbra.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/voicesfromtheumbra, and our Twitter is Umbra Podcast. Our email is vftumbramail@yahoo.com. They call, and we hear them. They are hurt, and we accept their pain. They are at their end, and we will carry them in our memory. Bear witness to the voices from the Umbra.